Warping type can create a sense of dimension, playfulness, and tradition. We can achieve these results sometimes easily, sometimes more painstakingly, using Illustrator's warp effects, its 3D extrude and bevel options, and the free transform tools. Here we have 4 different approaches to warping type. In this first example, I want to create a simple extruded shadow. I need to make sure I'm on the right layer. I'm going to begin with an ellipse, select my type, cut my type, delete that empty text object, come and choose my type on a path tool, and then I'm going to click at the 6 o'clock position, paste my type. I'll change its color to a light gray, and that's so that we can see it distinctly from the extruded shape. I'll now come to the Effect menu, 3D, Extrude and Bevel. This is the angle I want, 5, 0, 0. So you can see we're just seeing that our shape is being upturned from the bottom. And if we look at the preview, this is how it's going to look. I'm going to set the perspective to 120 degrees. This is so that we can get a differing amount of shadow on the separate letters. And when I press the Tab key, you can see what's happening there. And now I want to extrude it more than 50 points. Exact mileage, of course, will vary according to the size and style of your type, but I'm going to set that to 120 points. I'm then going to change the direction of the light as being head on. Not that that's going to make much difference based upon what I'm going to do next. Just before I go further, I do notice that putting the type on a curve and adding that extrusion has caused me to want to apply some additional kerning to it. I'm going to come to the Appearance panel. I'd like to bring the O and the T closer together. That's going to be easier to do if I turn off the extrusion, double click to insert my cursor at that point, and then I will press Option or Alt and my left arrow to bring those 2 letters closer together. Now back to my selection tool, we can turn that back on again. And the next thing we want to do is expand this, because the object that we currently have is far too complicated. I'll expand it, and now I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to ungroup it multiple times so that I can regroup just the faces of the letter as one and the extruded shadow as another group. Ungroup, and then do that as many times as necessary until ungroup is no longer an option. Then with the direct selection tool, I will come and select the faces of the type, holding down the Shift key as I do that, and then Command G to group those together. Now let's look on the Layers panel. If I disclose the contents of Layer 1, we can see that we have this group here. I'm going to hide that and now select everything that makes up the extruded shape and simplify this by coming to the Pathfinder and uniting it into one. I'm then going to simplify it further by coming to the Path menu and choosing Simplify. Where the curve precision I will set to 99, and we can see that we are halving the number of points. I can then apply the color that I want to that shadow, which in this case is green. I will turn the group back on, and somehow things have gotten a little confused in my order. I need to make sure that that is above the shadow on the Layers panel. With the type selected, come and change its color to that yellow gradient that I have on my swatches panel. I'll use the gradient tool to change the direction of the gradient. Let's go from top to bottom. Might take a few goes to get that just right. I'm pressing there Command or Control H so that I can see my type without all the selected anchor points. Okay, that looks all right. I'm now going to apply a stroke to that, and I'm going to click on the stroke options and set the stroke to align to the outside, and I'm also going to make it lighter in weight. I'll now turn my edges back on, Command or Control H, and there is my first warped type option. My second option is a whole lot more straightforward. All I need to do here is apply a bulge warp effect, and to the type only. So I'm going to select just the type, Effect, Warp, Bulge, and then I just need to adjust the amount of the bend so that the type fits into that shape. Now, even though the type began as being vertically and horizontally centered within that shape, when I apply the warp to it, that may cause it to not look like it is, so I might need to then just adjust its position. Thirdly, I want this kind of effect that we see on the left, where the size of the type decreases as we get closer to the end of the word. This is type on a path. If I select it, we can see that we have type on an ellipse, and that ellipse is rotated at an angle. Now I have here the exact same type on the exact same ellipse at the exact same angle. It looks quite different. Here's what I did to it to make it look the way I want. Starting out with my type on a path options, I'm going to change that from rainbow to skew. Next, I need to add a warping effect. It could be any warping effect, because what I want is not the bend, but rather the horizontal distortion. I'm going to turn the bend down to 0, and then for the horizontal distortion, I'm going to make that minus 20%. And look what that does to the type. It's now decreasing the further we get to the end of the word. And that's okay. That gets us most of the way there. But I just want to go a little bit further by dialing this in a rather manual way. I'm going to select 7 of the letters, everything except the L, and I'm going to decrease the size by 1 point. Command Shift less than. Now I just want to point out that my preferences, my type preferences, are set up to adjust the size and leading by 1 point increments. I'll now select everything from the G through to the end. Do the same thing. And I'll repeat that until I get to the end of the word. One step further, same approach, select everything with the exception of the L, and this time I'm going to decrease the horizontal width. So I press Command or Control T to call up my character panel. This is the option that I'm after here, the horizontal scale, and I'm going to decrease by 1%. From the G through to the end, decrease by 1%. You get the idea. And it's that attention to detail that is going to make all the difference. My fourth warping option is also rather labor intensive. We want the type to be warped at the bottom and at the top. The bottom is easy. I'll do that first of all. Warp, this is going to be an arc lower. I want to set the horizontal distortion back to 0, and this time increase the bend enough to make that fill the space. But it's not going to work so easily with the top, because as you can see from the finished example on the left, we want the crossbar on the T to come down on the left and on the right hand side. Let's zoom in on this, and I'm going to position this like so, and I'm going to start out by increasing the vertical scale. Let's open up the character panel, and I'm deferring everything to the T to begin with. This is the vertical scale option. I'm going to increase that. I'm holding down the Shift key while I click on that up arrow, and we're going to go to 330%. I'm now going to increase the horizontal scale to push the letters out to the left and to the right. And that's about as far as I can get it. I'm now going to convert to outlines, Command or Control, Shift O. And so that I can work on these letters individually, I'm going to ungroup, Command Shift G. I now want to work on the T. And we can see that the vertical scaling has really done bad things to the vertical stroke on the T. We need to fatten this up a bit. So I'm going to select that anchor point and that anchor point, and I'm going to move it to the left. Holding down my Shift key, I'm going to tap my left arrow. I'll do the equivalent for the right. Now with my pen tool, I will add an anchor point at the top, hold down my Command key so that I can switch to my direct selection tool, and I will pull that up. I now need to massage this into shape, and that may involve some back and forth. So if I don't get it just right, please forgive me, but I'm going to move those two anchor points up I'll select this path segment, holding down the Shift key. I'll bring that out to the right. And this one, again, holding down the Shift key, the equivalent distance to the left. I'll now select the O, and I want to adjust this with the Free Transform tool. The essential point here is that each letter is going to be adjusted individually with the Free Transform tool using the Free Distort option. I'll start on the right, and I'll bring that down, and then move over to the left. And I'll hold down the Shift key and drag that down like so. Then I'll come and select its opposite number, and we will do the same thing. The Free Distort option, bring it down and on the right. And then we're going to do the same thing, of course, with the R's. So we see there are 4 examples of warped type. Some very straightforward and easy and off the shelf, others far more labor intensive, but definitely worth spending the extra time.